Greetings, Terrans. I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. Well, folks, I think it's time that we take a little break from Thor and the Avengers for a little bit. So today, let's talk about the Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, I previously blogged Volume 2 5 years ago, and I already talked about Mission Breakout and Monsters After Dark on my top 15 Disneyland attractions, so I guess it's safe to say that I'm a Guardians of the Galaxy fan. But one thing I didn't mention is that drop tower influenced a third season of the same name for their animated series back in 2018. And just recently, Epcot gave the Guardians an Omnicoaster called Cosmic Rewind, which not only makes me pretty jealous, but it also gives Space Mountain a run for its money. Also, not only will the Guardians have an appearance in Thor Love and Thunder, but I heard that they'll be having 2 upcoming appearances on Disney+. One being a mini-series centered on Baby Groot called I'm Groot, and the other being a holiday special this December. Also, there's going to be a Volume 3 next year, which I'm really excited about. However, for this episode, we're going to look at the movie where the Guardians began in the MCU. Released on August 1st, 2014, the movie is Guardians of the Galaxy. And now, let's get on with the plot of the film. Brash space adventurer Peter Quill, aka Star-Lord, finds himself the quarry of relentless bounty hunters after he steals an orb coveted by Ronan, a powerful villain. To evade Ronan, Quill is forced into an uneasy truce with 4 desperate misfits: gun-toting Rocket Raccoon, tree-like humanoid Groot, enigmatic Gamora, and vengeance-driven Drax the Destroyer. But when he discovers the orb's true power and the cosmic threat it poses, Quill must rally his ragtag group to save the universe. So, what are my thoughts on this movie? Well, like the past 2 blogs, I didn't see this movie in theaters, but after renting it from Netflix and getting my own DVD copy, I loved it. But now, let's move on to Mustang Notes. Now, believe it or not, this is the 10th movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It was directed by James Gunn, who'd later direct 2021's The Suicide Squad, and he worked on the screenplay in September 2012 with Nicole Perlman, whom was enrolled in Marvel's screenwriting program in 2009, and spent 2 years writing a draft for the movie. Principal photography began in July 2013 at Shepperton Studios in England, with filming continuing in London before wrapping up in October 2013. In addition to the original score by Tyler Bates, the film's soundtrack includes several popular songs from the 1960s and 1970s chosen by Gunn. Post-production was completed on July 7th, 2014. Also to note, not only was Guardians of the Galaxy the highest-grossing superhero film of 2014, but it also won the Hugo Award for Best Dramatic Presentation in 2015. Now, to me, like Avengers and Thor 2, this film is another important movie in the MCU Infinity Saga, due to it featuring another Infinity Stone, the Orb, which holds the Power Stone, which embodies both the sustaining and destructive forces of the universe, and grants its wielder tremendous energy manipulation compatibilities. Plus, due to the amount of energy the Power Stone releases, it is also the most destructive out of all the Infinity Stones in terms of raw power, and it's among the most powerful artifacts in the universe. A long time ago, not too long after the Big Bang, the Power Stone was used by the Celestial, known as Eson the Searcher, to destroy planets and civilizations until it was forgotten inside the orb for a millennia. It was later in possession of 9 cosmic beings who attempted to harness the stone's power by sharing it between them, linking themselves together. The effects were short-lived as the energy of the stone disintegrated the group after only a few moments. Eventually, the orb and the stone inside it were hidden on the planet Morag, where it was stored in a secret tomb beneath a vast ocean that would recede only once every 300 years. Also, in my opinion, I think the galaxy in the MCU is pretty different compared to most outer space sci-fi films that I've seen, like Star Wars, Star Trek, or even Zathura, mainly due to how the visuals look in this film. Plus, I think the Guardian spaceship, the Milano, looks really awesome, and the battle scenes are really badass and epic. Even though the most memorable battle in this movie is the final climax, where the Nova Corp fleet helps the Guardians fight Ronan. Also, aside from the planet Morag, this film features other planets like Xandar, the Kiln Prison, and the planet Nowhere. Also, I think the songs that play in this movie are really nostalgic. Some of my favorites being Come and Get Your Love, Cherry Bomb, Ooh Child, Escape, aka the Pina Colada song, Ain't No Mountain High Enough, Moonage Daydream, I Want You Back, which also plays on Mission Breakout, and Hooked on a Feeling, which happens to be my #1 fan, Nathan Higa's favorite song. And now, let's move on to the cast. The leader of the Guardians, Peter Quill, aka Star-Lord, is played by Chris Pratt, whom was in Jennifer's Body, Zero Dark 30, the Lego movies, the Jurassic World trilogy, Passengers, and Pixar's Onward. And he'll soon be voicing Mario in the upcoming Illumination Mario movie. Quill is a self-proclaimed legendary outlaw and a member of the Ravagers who, after stealing the Power Stone's orb from the planet Morag and being arrested by the Nova Corp, formed a team to stop the evil Ronan and to protect the galaxy from other threats, while at the same time getting paid for services. In my opinion, Quill is a pretty cool dude due to his love of classic rock and roll. Plus, there are times where he can be pretty optimistic, upbeat, and sarcastic, but a little immature at times. Also, I think his favorite movie must be the 1984 Footloose movie, since Kevin Bacon is his favorite actor of all time. And believe me, if Quill ever saw the 2011 remake, he'd really vomit as much as I did back in 2014. By the way, would you viewers believe me if I ever told you that Quill actually been to Epcot before he was abducted by Yondu? Also, I felt really bad that Quill's mom, Meredith, died from a brain tumor when he was 8 years old. No thanks to his father, Ego, the Living Planet, whom was the main antagonist of Volume 2. Anyway, at the end of the movie, Quill gave the orb to the Nova Corp for safekeeping. Next we have Gamora, played by Zoe Saldana, whom I remember from the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, the 2017 My Little Pony movie, Laika's Missing Link, The Book of Life, Vivo, which should be getting a DVD and Blu-ray release next month, and James Cameron's Avatar, which will be getting a sequel this December. Gamora is a former assassin who once served her adoptive father Thanos before freeing herself and sought to stop him once and for all. To me, like most characters Zoe acts as, Gamora is very strong, intense, short-fused, and deadly. But underneath all that, she's actually very friendly and natural, driven by the desire to do what's right, as opposed to what is easy. Also, when I first heard of her, I kind of felt that due to her green skin, Gamora made me think of Jennifer Walters, aka She-Hulk, who will be getting her own MCU miniseries next month. Next we come to my favorite member of the Guardians, Rocket Raccoon, voiced by Bradley Cooper, whom I remember from 2010's Valentine's Day and 2018's A Star is Born. Rocket is a genetically engineered raccoon who is an expert marksman and a master tactician. To me, despite his easily enraged and aggressive behavior, Rocket is a very clever and crafty character. I mean, he was able to use an electric toothbrush as a drill at DCA in order to escape from the collector's display cases. Then there's Rocket's partner, Groot, voiced by WWE wrestler turned actor Vin Diesel, whom I mainly remember from the Fast and Furious franchise and Brad Bird's underrated animated masterpiece, The Iron Giant. Groot is a hyper-intelligent tree-like creature with a limited speech who can absorb wood and gain strength and recover from injuries, as well as control trees and vines. To me, during this movie, Groot usually seems very gentle and warm, and I like that he displays kindness towards innocent life. Plus, Groot is very loyal to Rocket and the other Guardians, and he can also be very merciless and savagely brutal towards his enemies. Also, I thought Groot made a very heroic sacrifice when he died protecting his friends during the Battle of Xandar. But thank goodness Groot wasn't dead forever, due to part of his destroyed body being planted by Rocket in order to give birth to a new Groot. The last member of the Guardians is Drax the Destroyer, played by another WWE actor, Dave Bautista, whom was in last year's Oscar-winning champion, Dune. Drax is a warrior whose family was murdered by Thanos and Ronan, and he seeks vengeance on all those responsible and involved in his family's death. To me, underneath Drax's brutish appearance, serious demeanor, and seemingly unquenchable murderous rage, he belies a sense of honor and a calm mind capable of strategy. Next we come to Gamora's sister, Nebula, played by Karen Gillan, who would later act in the Jumanji sequels and Blue Sky's Spies in Disguise. In this movie, Nebula is a Lufanoid assassin and Ronan's right-hand woman. Also, while she does hate Thanos, Nebula in this film is cruel, evil, and considered by men as the galaxy's biggest sadist. But I'm glad that Nebula becomes a better person after Volume 2. Next there's Yondu, the leader of the Ravagers, played by Michael Rooker, whom was in Love and Monsters and last year's The Suicide Squad. While he was a pretty decent father figure to Peter Quill, I find this guy to be an unscrupulous thief who is willing to kill, threaten, and betray if his well-being is in danger or he desires something of value. Plus, Yondu has a great sense of humor, and I think his Yaka arrow that's controlled by a series of whistles is pretty cool. Another character to talk about is Taneleer Tavan, the Collector, played by Benicio del Toro, who'd later act as a snake in The Little Prince, DJ, the Codebreaker in Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, and as Swiper the Fox in Dora and the Lost City of Gold. This guy is the head of the Tavan Group, and he's renowned as the keeper of the largest collection of interstellar fauna, relics, and species in the galaxy. For those who may not remember, in the second Thor movie, The Dark World, the warriors from Asgard gave the Collector the Ether, which contains the Reality Stone, and of course he held the Guardians prisoner during the events of Mission Breakout at Disney California Adventure. However, in this film, The Collector tells the Guardians the story of the Infinity Stones and, as ancient beings, used them to destroy entire civilizations. In my eyes, the Collector is a very polite and debonair kind of guy. Plus, I think his museum, while pretty different from its DCA counterpart, is very breathtaking. Finally, we come to the movie's villain, Ronan the Accuser, played by Lee Pace, whom I remember from Peter Jackson's Hobbit trilogy. The last time I talked about this guy was during my blog of Captain Marvel, which took place about 19 years prior. And to me, I still find Ronan to be a very power-hungry, iron-fisted, and sadistic Kree. During this movie, Ronan initiates a new campaign to eradicate the Xandarians by forging an alliance with Thanos, offering the orb in exchange for the destruction of Xandar. But after Ronan acquired the orb, he instead betrays Thanos and chose to take the orb's power for himself. Other actors in the movie include John C. Reilly, Glenn Close, Rob Zombie, Nathan Fillion, and Seth Green. And now let's move on to my final words. Overall, Guardians of the Galaxy is such an amazing movie to come from the MCU. It has amazing visuals, great acting, memorable characters, epic action scenes, and an awesome soundtrack. To me, not only is this, along with Volume 2, a must-watch for all Marvel fans, but it's also an awesome build-up to what happens 4 years afterwards. Plus, I'm really looking forward to Volume 3 next year, as well as the upcoming Disney Plus miniseries and holiday special. And I really need to revisit California Adventures soon this summer, so I can have another ride on Mission Breakout. And hopefully soon, Monsters After Dark during September. And I just hope that I can go back to Epcot someday, so I can experience Cosmic Rewind for myself. Anyway, I give Guardians of the Galaxy a full 100%. Well, that's all for now. Be sure to join me for my next blog, where I look at the second Avengers movie, The Age of Ultron. Mustang Power.